Alright, Amy, let's take a look at your paper. MLA format first. This looks good. All of this looks good. Not a bad title. Maybe even certainly one of the better ones I've seen out of your classmates and you, but I think it could even be more, because really it's not about suppression. Maybe it is when I get into it. Alright, start off with a quote about OCD. They don't realize their symptoms. Now, are these going to be the same symptoms you bring up with Macbeth? I'm not sure. We haven't quite learned this lesson yet, but when you have parentheses inside parentheses, they become brackets. So this will be a bracket, this will be a bracket, and then you'll have the quote in the other bracket. So just make sure you fix that for the future as well. You can't mention Macbeth without mentioning the author and the play, so you got to mention both of those as well. He was unaware just how ill-minded he really was. He wasn't the all-powerful ruler like he believed. It wasn't in the right position, so this is a wrong use of a semicolon. So I like your thesis statement. I think your thesis statement works well, but I want to make sure. Yeah, these do look like your order of operation here. That needs to be closer to the end, though, too. And make sure that you're specific with what these symptoms are. Now, with your attention getter being just jumping right into the topic of OCD, we'd love to see maybe something a little bit different than that. So, see if there's something different that you can do for a attention getter there. All right. So his demand for perfect and orderly murders caused him to be aggressive. Try to maybe a little bit more specific, again, trying to tie it into your thesis statement here. Now, what you do a really good job of, Amy, is you do a really good job of setting up the symptom here. I think this is a really good job of setting up the symptoms. You have the citation, although this one is probably incorrect. We'll take a look at it when we get at the bottom, but really good job setting up that symptom. Now, what you don't do a better job of is tying it into Macbeth. After Macbeth's first perfect murder, which was Duncan, right? But this has got to be his first perfect murder was Duncan, because Banquo's murder wasn't perfect. Yet you use a quote from Banquo's murder. You got too many spaces here, so get rid of those spaces. You got to capitalize Banquo. Although no comma, his wife, no comma, Lady Macbeth, no comma, was trying to convince Macbeth that seeing the dead rise again was untrue, comma, Macbeth wouldn't believe it. He thought because he saw it, it must be true. But again, how does this relate to your message up here about being master of his fate? There's nothing there that really ties it together. Anyway, so you gotta work on that. His belligerent thoughts were revealed as he gained knowledge of his prophecies. Sounds like a transitional sentence that you are working on, so let's move into the next paragraph. So Macbeth's actions, thoughts incipiently rendered his aggression. That's a big word. You do a good job of, again, setting up the disorder, although even to get a gain to what they want, that's really awkwardly worded, and that's a wrong use of a colon, so we got to fix that. You got too many spaces here. You got space issues here. You got too many spaces here, so just be careful of that. He longed for power and replaced lust over reason. I'm not sure this is the greatest quote to really back that up. And I'm not sure lust is the right word. I'm assuming you mean lust for power, but you already said he longed for power, so might want to think of a different word there. He did, although at first he didn't want to kill him. He couldn't stop thinking if he should or not. How does this go back to your topic? With cruel thoughts and behaviors. Keep going back to the topic. Keep going back to the thesis. What does this have to do with his thesis, your thesis that you set up? If you can't do that, then You've missed the point of the end of the body paragraph, so you got to work on that. All right, he began to hear poison in his mind. That sounds a little bit awkward, and not a good topic sense as well. This one not as good about setting up the disease, and it's one of your shorter paragraphs too. Time into that thinking. I like the quote. The quote makes sense for the symptom you're talking about. These thoughts that are in his mind never go away. They consumed him. He let the promise of success get to his head, which drove him mental. That's probably the wrong phrasing there. He thinks about dreadful accidents he should make, like killing someone for power. Supernatural spelled wrong. You got an end mark here that you need to add. You got a run-on sentence here that you got to fix too. So not a whole lot in here that really draws us into the thesis. Not a whole lot that draws us into the topic. We really got to make sure that that is stronger in your paper. All right, so now we're going to talk about daily routines and significant problems in their daily life due to unwanted feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. You got a space issue here. There's another part that you needed to cite. For instance, overthinking at night time makes it very difficult to sleep. Add in an in-text citation there, because I'm not sure where you got that one. I mean, this is also, again, an outside source, so where did you get that from? So it's taking a toll on him, and what he's done. He wanted to be getting stressed and anxious, causing problems in his life. But again, how is this leading towards your thesis? How is this building your thesis? How is it building the symptom? You just got to be more specific. And a false dagger aiming towards the death of Duncan the King. You probably don't need to put this anymore. I think you've mentioned him enough that we don't need to know that he's the king. This is don't use a comma there. But going back to the symptom, is this interrumedy part of his day? Like, you got to be way more specific. And again, especially about the thesis statement. How does the thesis statement fit into that? Also, no comma there, right? All right. He wanted to conquer his destiny. Again, that's not brought up enough in your paper. You got to do that more. So you got your thesis restated. So go through your main points again. I guess you restate that, which you don't necessarily need to at this point in the ball game here. He almost fooled everyone, but his faith will allow his true colors to show. Not a bad last sentence, except I don't think you've really proven this with your paper. So if you're going to say this, you better prove this a little bit more in your paper. This is works cited page, no space there. All of this has to be in alphabetical order based on the first word, and then anything after the second line gets tabbed over. So you have the second line tabbed over, but you don't have this line tabbed over. So that's got to get tabbed over too. And then again, make sure it's alphabetical. Yeah, everything looks good. For sources, you just got to make sure it's in the right order. This is you're missing the edited by Sidney Lamb. You don't need this since that's only for websites, so you got to fix that too. All right, Amy, you're doing a lot of things that are good. Still got a lot of things to do though to clean it up. So hopefully we'll see a rewrite out of you.